Hello, I am Brianna Millage. I am in my last term of grad school at LSU at Shreveport. I am currently in my grad program for a master's in curriculum and instruction, focusing on the general context of curriculum and instruction. Um, in the future, I aspire to become a instructional coach. I aspire to teach teachers how to have culturally relevant and responsive classrooms and how to embed those practices within their classrooms to have student growth and understanding throughout the year, not just the first part or the last part. I want to make that a cohesive transition. With this class, EDL 787, I believe that it has taught me a lot about how to establish professional development and coaching as an instructional coach. Prior to taking this class, I believe that it's hard to create um, a professional learning development, a professional development learning course because it takes a lot of process and you have to have a lot of background knowledge and a lot of research. And I also felt like coaching was like one-on-one coaching was good, but whole group coaching, I felt like I was a little nervous about because each individual teacher has individual needs. So I was a little hesitant about how to approach that. Through my one-on-one coaching, I realized that it's not as bad as I thought it was. It's very easy to simply talk and address the whole body in the sense of addressing one person as my mentee. Through my one-on-one coaching sessions, I believe that I learned a lot about me. I learned a lot about how to speak in a way that is understandable to adults because being a teacher, I'm always speaking to students, I'm always speaking to that individual learner rather than speaking to an adult because I am a leader in my school. I'm a PLC leader, but it's kind of different when you're hosting like research for professional development strategies and skills as far as coaching. But as I went through my one-on-one coaching session, I realized that it was been very beneficial for me and my mentee. For one, it was beneficial for me to actually take the steps to create a course or i.e., a professional learning development coaching session. I learned about the background information that goes into it. Like you have to do research about a program before presenting it. You have all these mini programs that we essentially want to implement in our classrooms, but oftentimes we don't have any research as to what is it actually helping, what resources would back up the information. So this course allowed me to take the steps into researching so I can provide the information in the future to when I become an instructional coach of okay, let's try this program rather than all right, this is why we need to try the program because it is backed by research and evidence and practices. Um, Something that was beneficial for my mentee, on the other hand, would it? I mean, honestly, she after reviewing and after doing our coaching session number two, she realized that differentiating instruction is not as hard as it seemed for her. She's going to use the DIFID programming in her classroom to present different ideas rather than, okay, we're always doing Ed Puzzle, we're always doing something on Canvas. No, we can do something a little different rather than simply doing what she's normally been doing. Like, okay, let's differentiate this reading passage for all students so they can get the same information just in different levels. She also learned that it's okay to give students different levels at the same time rather than okay we have to pull a small group. No, they can all read the same thing or read something similar to the same thing but just on different levels. I think that's something that kind of stuck with her. Also, that there's a lot of programs out there for her to differentiate, not just like I said Ed Puzzle or Canvas or Google Classrooms and things of that nature. Like with the advancement of technology, AI is becoming, she's becoming more comfortable and more willing to use the AI tools for her benefit rather than, all right, we have AI here, students use it, but she's learning how to take that as a benefit. Some challenges through this coaching session was finding time to like align our schedules. We're both sixth grade science teachers. So I think one of the challenging parts was through these one-on-one coaching sessions was finding a time that both fits us, being that we do not work in the same school. And she has children and I do not have children. So it was just a lot to kind of I guess balance. It was also a lot personally for me to find a program that was beneficial that we can use with our school system because essentially I want to find a product that my mentee or any mentee could use through their schools, not just something for the class. Like I want to make it very practically aligned. And I think one of the most challenging things was finding that program that actually worked on a school computer because they block so many things. Also another challenge would have been understanding that the program, I guess, would it be, because I have to, like, as a coach, I felt like I had to teach myself how to use the program, then teach her how to embed that program in her everyday class, being that, she teaches sixth grade science. I think that would have been a little challenging, as well as finding, valid programs that are not blocked on the site, as well as finding programs that align to what we necessarily want to do. But yeah, like I feel like one-on-one coaching has allowed me to grow as a person as far as like researching and just making sure that there are programs out there for all educators to use based on what their needs are. Specifically, my mentee's need was differentiating. I feel like with me, I will also use the program because I do feel like differentiating strategies and structural practices is very important. That was very beneficial for me because I also can use that program in my class for my students who are low and high, and in those bubble kids who are in the middle that we just oftentimes kind of miss overlook and everything like that. But through this one-on-one coaching, I feel like something, as we reflect on all that has happened with the pre coach or coaching session number one, the pre-coaching, as far as like, doing our round table, and then coaching session number two where we're putting the information out there. I feel like something that could have made this process a little bit better as far as for my mentee would have been presenting more applicable ways to implement that in a classroom. So like for example, we're getting ready to talk about like weathering and erosion. Like I could simply give her a lesson plan already laid out that will help her understand how she could use Diffit actually in her classroom to differentiate, rather than showing her the program, showing her how she can use it, but like giving her an example of how to use it could have probably allow for better results as far as her accepting the program and her actually using it. Through this process, I feel like I focused specifically on differentiating, but in coaching session number two, she discussed how she wanted to use differentiating as like the starting point to build critical thinking. And I feel like knowing that previously, I probably could have implemented more resources that build on differentiating that could then build on critical thinking skills, because in science you must have critical thinking in order to think about some of the concepts and phenomena that are happening. So that could have made this process a little bit easier for my mentee, as far as like not just focusing on one content area or one specific area, but like focusing on how step one is differentiating, step two is critical thinking. How can we bridge those two ideas rather than just one thing, which we focused on was differentiating. Um, Overall, one-on-one coaching has been very, very successful. On in my opinion, I think one-on-one coaching was fun. It helped me to take the steps prior to start coaching, because oftentimes I just talk and then just tell people what I think rather than having that evidence to back it up, which is a whole lot more helpful because it made it easier to kind of like bridge the gap. Okay, here's your problem, here's the solution to it, let's put it together. If I were to tell other coaches out there who was their first time doing one-on-one coaching, I would honestly say that take the steps to find out what the true issue is or the true concern is for your mentee in order to provide resources. There are other resources out there. Take that step further to find those resources that you think will be beneficial for yourself, because if it's beneficial for yourself, it's more than likely going to be beneficial for your mentee, because at the end of the day, we're teachers and we need to put ourselves in the shoes of teachers before we become coaches. I honestly think that this class was great as far as helping me understand the process it takes to provide one on one coaching for professional development. Thank you for this awesome experience and have a wonderful day. Bye, guys.